So with my pending work on the MK11 critique, obviously I'm going to need some smaller, simple, quick-to-make videos so I can put something out. And I thought this could be a fun one to do. What I've done here is I've taken Sonic Heart XD's recent MK 2021 character ranking tier list and made it into a roster duster tier list, in which I'm going to be saying which characters should get to come back for MK 2021 2 and which characters should not come back. You know, and hopefully Scaly Boy Sonic Heart XD, go follow him, will make one of these for the MK Legends universe, and then I can steal that and have that be filler. So, you know, not yet, wait until that movie comes out and give him like 2 weeks. 2 weeks after that movie comes out, so that'll be mid-September, then start requesting it. We'll see how well that goes, but don't be obnoxious about it, because that always sucks. So, the first step here is to remove Echo Fighters, because he was doing the tier list and he's like, well, what about Jax and Cole before they get their Arcana powers? So it makes sense to just get rid of those here, because there's not going to be 2 of them. So the first obvious step is to not Echo Fighters, erase Cole's family. They don't need to come back. They've served their purpose as helping Cole to acquire his powers, and that's kind of it. Their purpose is served. Oh, this dude as well. He's a nobody. They're not worth bringing back. None of them. I'm not sure about the car though. The car might get to stay. We'll see. So first thing, who needs to come back? Well, first of all, how could you leave Kano out? I've said it before, but like, you know, when Kano is the best part of your MK product, something has gone horribly, horribly wrong. Somehow Kano is just a joy to watch on screen because they've basically turned him into Johnny Cage, which is why Johnny Cage needs to come in this next film, you know. I think the fact that Kano is so fun suggests one of 2 things. One is that Johnny Cage will be just as fun to watch as long as they don't start playing into the whole, disrespects women thing that MK11 did with the past version. As long as they don't start trying to play that up, Johnny will be a fun character. But it's also possible this guy was just given a lot of freedom to ad-lib, and that's why he's so funny. In which case, bring the actor back as Johnny Cage. Fuck it, just cast him in the roles. I don't know, Johnny Cage and Kano are related, and Kano was actually his brother Jimmy Cage the whole time. I don't know, but I want Johnny to be funny, because, you know, Johnny's the character who kind of unites MK fans in the modern era, where whether you like or hate the NetherRealm era, kind of everyone just agrees unanimously that, yeah, Johnny Cage is fucking great, and people who don't think that are generally ostracized from the community, so, you know, all is as it should be. Kung Lao was just great, as well as actually being one of the few characters in the film to genuinely look like the character. Like, you know, if you look at a lot of these characters, you look at them and think, well, if you were shown these characters out of context, how many of them would you be able to genuinely just look at straight away and say, oh yeah, that's an MK character? I'd say Cabal, Kung Lao, Scorpion, Sub-Zero, yeah. I'm not going to count Goro because he's a CGI monstrosity. But, like, no one else is really identifiable other than maybe Raiden, but even then, it's a bit of a stretch. But Kung Lao actually looks like the character, so it's a real shame they didn't put that costume into MK11. You know, give Kung Lao an actually good costume for fucking once in that game. And he's also just a good fighter. I don't know why Kung Lao got so much of a push. Maybe it's because they were killing him off to motivate Liu Kang. But yeah, Kung Lao got to be really fucking good in that movie. Yes, he has some fun banter. He's a skilled fighter. He gets... I would say it's the best kill in the movie. I mean, it doesn't mean anything. It goes nowhere, but it's a pretty good finisher. So yeah, he's another of the highlights of the film. It's him and Kano with the highlights of the entire film. Everyone else was just kind of forgettable and bland, and that fucking sucks. So speaking of forgettable and bland and Kung Lao's fatality, yeah, this Nitara can get in the sea, because she's not Nitara. You know, this is absolute trash. Genuinely, the Nitara that shows up in Scorpion's Revenge for like 2 seconds and just hisses like a weird cat creature, she is a better Nitara representation than this movie, because she looks like her, and she's not depicted as working for Outworld. She's just there on the island, which isn't accurate, but there's a difference between something that's not accurate and something that is inaccurate, you know? It may seem like a pedantic thing, but, you know, it's like not doing anything good versus doing something bad, right? There is a distinction. It is there. We can also get rid of Reiko, because another case of nothing like the game character other than he have hammer. I mean, these things on his face are supposed to be like the facial markings that he has in the games, but you can barely see it half the time, so what the fuck was the point? I'm going to say that See, I'm hesitant with Cabal because in terms of his skill set, he's pretty accurate. In terms of design, he's really accurate. He's one of the most accurate looking characters in the entire film. If I forgot to mention him earlier, then I apologise. He also gets that soul-sucked line, which is quite amusing. But at the same time, he's also a villain. But there is also the possibility that you could redeem him in a sequel. He could become a good guy. Yeah. But not TBA. Let's do that. Let's put Cabal in the sequel. So then we have... This is partly down to... This character was okay in the film, so that they could be brought back. But there's also the case of the character's story is done. Like, what can you really do with Scorpion at this point? What role can Scorpion serve in a sequel? Because I've thought about this before. What can you do with this man? Because Scorpion, he got his revenge. He killed Sub-Zero at the end of the film. And his bloodline continues through Cole. So what purpose would Scorpion serve in a sequel? Like, the reason you bring him back in MK2 is he can fight the younger Sub-Zero. But, like, would the younger Sub-Zero come in for revenge? Like, yeah, so at the tournament, the younger Sub-Zero shows up fighting for Outworld to get revenge for the death of his brother at the hand of Scorpion, which I'm sure that's going to be the case in Battle of the Realms, and that would work fine. But here it's like Scorpion's just gone back to the Netherrealm, and he has no reason to come back, really. Especially since if Sub-Zero does come back from the dead, he can just rely on Cole to deal with it. So Scorpion is a tough one to place, because there's no narrative function for his character anymore, because they've functionally removed that with Cole. The only way I can see it really working is, well, there are two ways. One is that he comes back to protect Cole from a fight with Kuai Liang and or Noob Saibot, or he passes the power onto Cole and Cole becomes the new Scorpion, which you may look at and go, well, you can't do that. You can't just take all the stuff belonging to this Japanese character and give it to this half-white man. And you know, the filmmakers even said they didn't want a white man to be the lead character, so like taking this gimmick appropriation and giving it to a white man, you can't do that. Well, you have to keep in mind, they did take the role of a hero from a Chinese man and give it to a half-white man while talking about how they didn't want a white lead. So, you know, the filmmakers are full of shit, as is everybody who works on MK content these days. All of them are full of shit. And anytime they try to justify their poor decisions, it's always insulting to your fucking intelligence. Anyway, back on topic. Sonya was fine. I have no problem letting her stick around. She didn't have much in the way of actual role, like story or personality, but hopefully with the introduction of Johnny Cage and a dynamic between them, hopefully they could get something interesting. It wouldn't surprise me, given how they flipped the dynamic between Cabal and Kano, if Sonya was the one flirting with Johnny and Johnny was not interested in her. Yeah, you know, they might do something interesting with her and Johnny, but for now, Sonya's not that interesting, but she is inoffensive. You know, she's not like these fucking characters who are so bland as to be offensive, or so shit as to be offensive. Alright, so Molina, I see a lot of people talk about how the actress was really great in the role. CC Stringer was so good as Molina. What the fuck did she have to work with? Sometimes you can have a really good actor who can shine through even with the shit material they're given, but in CC Stringer's case, I just don't see it. She's such a nothing character, this version of Molina, because she has no backstory, no motivations, no personality. And her design is terrible. Like, she just looks like she's been eating ass. You know, it looks like a fucking Demon's Souls PS3 beard. It's basically just a fucking brown texture smeared all over the lower half of her face. I mean, I guess the implication is supposed to be that it's all blood, that she just eats people and that doesn't wash her face, but then why are her teeth white? Trash. Like, even if... I mean, I'm sure Katana's going to be in the next one, whether or not she's played by CC Stringer, but she's bound to be in the next one. But even then, I don't care enough about this version of Molina to bother bringing her back. She's just so nothing. You know, I would genuinely prefer to just have a whole new OC clone created that is basically just Molina, but or a new Molina, a Molina 2.0 created by Shang Tsung. Shang Tsung can stay. He doesn't really do anything, but again, he's inoffensive. He's fine. Yeah, you know how bad this is? Well, no, you look at roster duster for MK, the games, and it's like, well, I like this character. I like this character. This character has a lot of potential. So does this one. This character's got a good story or what have you. And here it's just, this character's inoffensive, so I guess they can stay. I don't have a reason to get rid of them, so I guess that's enough to let them stay. I don't think anyone ever would have thought that they would ever see one man play both Jackson Briggs and Jimmy Olsen. That's fucking weird, right? Like, imagine back in like 1993, you saw Jax in the arcades in MK2 and someone was like, one day a man will play both him and Jimmy Olsen from Superman. You'd be like, the fuck are you on about? What the fuck are you smoking, bruv? And again, Jax is inoffensive. Well, his character is inoffensive. His power, though, that was fucking insulting. The idea that his Arcana power conveniently manifests as, like, better robot arms than the one he's got. See, that would have been so much cooler if it was that the metal sleeves that he had in the original timeline, if that was the power, and he just got those over his normal arms, and then it could be a thing where, like, in a sequel, the power, like, reworks itself after he loses his arms, so that it becomes full-on cyber arms with cool functionality, like Cyborg from DC. Again, I don't really have a problem with him other than how stupid the Arcana thing is and the missed opportunities with him, but I'm fine keeping Jax around. Some characters where you look at them and think, if this was the games, I would just say keep, maybe keep. A lot of these characters where I just look at and go, yeah, they should stay, they are icons of the games, but in the case of the movies, they're just crap. I would be happy if in the next movie we find out that Raiden died in a car crash off screen and now Fujin has taken his place as a protector of Earthrealm, because this Raiden is fucking useless. This is before the tournament. What rules are there to apply, Raiden? What rules apply when the tournament hasn't started yet? You could just teleport the bad guys away or teleport the good guys somewhere safe. But you don't, because you're a fucking imbecile. Because the writers are not as smart as they think they are, which is par for the course with MK. I mean, did you fucking see MK11 and the whole Chronica plot twist? I mean, clearly the writers think they're smarter than they actually are. So yeah, Raiden can get in the sea. I don't want him. He can go away. Go away, Raiden. You shit. My shitty B-Tech Raiden looks better and has more personality and is smarter than you, so, you know, piss off. So there's 6 characters left. The car, unfortunately, doesn't get to stay. Damn. That sucks, bro. Fucking sucks. Let's say I chose to keep Sub-Zero or Scorpion. Does the other need to come back? Because a lot of people would say that they are like a 2-for-1 deal, like they both have to be there. But I think a lot of characters who are largely defined by their rivalry with one another, like them, the Williams sisters in Tekken, Kasumi and Ayane in DOA, where the rivalries are a big part of these characters, I think it's fine to have one of them sit a game out and let the other one have something new going on, you know, try to explore another side of them. But it's probably preferable that characters don't get bogged down in a rivalry, otherwise you get Janli and Lei Fang in DOA, where Lei Fang has been trying to beat Janli for 6 games and has currently failed to do so, but she's still trying. Like, well, what a fucking worthless character she is. Why should I care about whether she succeeds or not when she never fucking will? I really got a topic in these things, don't I? So I don't think these 2 characters would need to both come back. I think it'd be interesting to see how they would render Noob Saibot's powers in the movies. It could lead to a potentially interesting scene where it's like he's fighting Scorpion and Cole, or Sub-Zero and Cole, and he's got Noob and Saibot fighting side by side. So it's like a proper 2-on-2. You know, actually have the villain get beaten in, you know, a fair fight. Because it's hard to look at a character and say, well, this character is like superior to this one, when they had to fucking double team them to win. Like, Sub-Zero is still, like, of the fighters, he's still the most powerful. Because Scorpion just couldn't beat him on his own. He needed Cole to back him up. Like, he needed a man with invincibility powers to take all the hits for him. You know, it's like if in Konosuba you said that Kazuma was more powerful than this, like, Demon King General because he had darkness just work as a meat shield and take all the hits for him so he could get in one hit and finish him off. Like, no. You know, that's not how that works. But I'd be fine bringing him back as Noob Saibot. I reckon what they're going to do is play on the burns, where he's all horribly burned and he's all black and charred. I reckon they'll play into that for the aesthetic of Noob. Instead of being shadow or oil as it was in Conquest, I reckon they're going to go for a burn thing, which was something I considered for MK Chronicles, but I just never included it. Because admittedly the shadow thing works a little better, I would say. So this leaves us with 5 characters. We have Scorpion, Cole Young, Goro, Liu Kang and Reptile. Bring back Liu Kang is fine. Again, he's inoffensive. I'd say get rid of Reptile. I think they should have another Saurian in the next one. They'd probably go with Chameleon, who can copy a bunch of people's abilities. But they could easily just cheat like MK Legends did, because the writer of MK Legends has said that Reptile and Baraka weren't in Scorpion's Revenge. Those were just other members of their species, so the actual characters can show up in sequels. They call him Sizoth, which is Reptile's real name, but I don't think anyone actually calls him Reptile, so you could have Reptile show up and he's just another character with a different name. It could work. I mean, you know, Amalgam Comics got away with having Bruce Wayne and Batman be separate characters when Batman was merged with Wolverine to become Dark Claw and Bruce Wayne was an Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. Likewise, Diana Prince was an Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. while Wonder Woman was merged with Storm. So it works. He can do that. He can get away with that because Amalgam got away with it. It's fine. So now the question is, which of these 3 is going to get to stay? Now, these are characters I think a lot of people probably would have expected me to put in keep straight away because of how important they are. Scorpion is the face of the franchise, ultimately. Cole Young is the protagonist, and Goro is the champion of, well, supposed to be the champion of Mortal Kombat. So I'm fine letting Scorpion go. His story is complete, he's avenged his family, his arc is done. There isn't much more you can really do with this version of Scorpion, I think. And stuff that you could do with him can easily go to Cole. So it's fine letting Scorpion just rest in peace. They won't, obviously, but I'd be fine with letting that happen. Which means we now have a choice to make. Do we keep the protagonist, Cole Young, or do we keep Goro and have someone else fight him? Now, since this next one is going to be the tournament, where we have to have like the big first real victory against Outworld to set up Shao Kahn coming in and being like, I am MK11 Shao Kahn based on my design in that statue at one point, and then get his ass kicked. So I'm going to say Unfortunately, Cole and his family and his friend all died in a car crash between films. It sure was a tragedy. It was Raiden's fault. He was giving them directions, but he had the map upside down because he's a fucking mong. And so the car crashed and they all died horribly. It's unfortunate, but you know, it is what it is. You think Cole's arm would have protected him, but it doesn't cover his whole body. It's just his upper body. So Fiery Inferno, he died. Oh, shame. And these characters are just dead, so fuck it, don't bother bringing them back. He can rest in peace. Yeah, it's at the point where it's like the one character I actually like from the movie that I'm fine letting go of is Scorpion. Everyone else is like, I hate them, or I'm so ambivalent that I don't see a point bringing them back. So by this reckoning, MK 2021-2 will feature Liu Kang as its main character, and he'll be gathering the forces of Earthrealm, which will be Johnny Cage, a resurrected Kung Lao. I mean, I'm sure Kung Lao will come back as a Revenant in the next one, under Shang Tsung's control, and he'll fight Liu Kang, which would be a better matchup for Liu Kang than just Cabal throughout the whole film, because you don't fucking fight anyone else. So, Shang Tsung has Kung Lao as a Revenant, Kano comes back, Noob Saibot comes in, and we also have Goro coming back, because he's the champion of MK. Unfortunately, the guy who beat him in a car crash... I mean, technically, his wife almost beat Goro in a car crash. Unfortunately, the guy who beat Goro in a fight died in a car crash between films, and that's how you raise the stakes. It's like the start of Deadly Alliance, when Liu Kang is killed by the Deadly Alliance to show what a threat they are. Cole unfortunately dies in a car crash. Oh no, the guy who beat Goro for us last time, he's dead. So we need someone else to beat him, and that's where your boy steps up, or maybe Johnny Cage, whatever. And so Johnny Cage is brought in to replace Cole, because Cole is dead, unfortunately. Unfortunately, he didn't make it. He didn't live to see the tournament. And Sonya and Jax are joined up, and then Cabal is brought back, but he has a change of heart and becomes a good guy. And during the film, we'll see, maybe with the death of Shang Tsung or something else, Kung Lao will come back as a good guy. Maybe he'll get revenge on Shang Tsung or Goro, one of the two. And Liu Kang will be the champion of Mortal Kombat. Sonya and Johnny Cage will at least go on a date, if not outright get together. Jax will just be there. Cabal will become a good guy. Kano will escape to continue being in all the future films, because he's like the one character anyone gives a shit about in this film franchise. Bi-Han can stick around, sure, be a rival for his brother, because we're not bringing back Scorpion. So it might as well be Sub-Zero and Noob Saibot as rivals. Goro will die for good. Shang Tsung, he can die, but then maybe come back in a sequel. And that would be a much better series than whatever's actually going to happen. So, thank you guys for watching. Be sure to check out ScalyBoy123's Twitter and his video that he did with, I think it was History Behind the Warrior. I might be full of shit. Someone else was with him in that video, and, you know, I'm not bitter that it wasn't me. I'm not upset, because I know things that you all don't know about Sonic's upcoming content, so the actual movie's going to be dog shit, innit?